that's the signal for the coldest weeks of the year in the northern hemisphere. It's backwards to the southern, and that it appears like the sun just sort of stands still, and that's what the word solstice means. I don't know if you know that, but that is soul is sun. That means standing. But Brenda's right. Ancient cultures, we can go back 10,000 years or more to, and you're all, I think, in the Neolithic time, and if you think of Stone Age, there have been celebrations of light for that long length of time to bring light back. Yule logs in the Celtic tradition, in the Scandinavian tradition, also Kwanzaa in the African tradition, also Diwali, which is in the Buddhist and Hindu traditions, also Christmas in our tradition, and Jewish tradition. You've got Hanukkah, you've got Festival of Light, which is what the solstice is all about. And I want to bring in a tradition that's really close to Brenda's heart, and that is the Native American traditions. In that tradition, universally, you've got song, you've got dance, you've got stories, all depicting bring back the light and celebration and how the soul is connected to that. So I think it is important that Brenda is doing this, and I hope many of us can attend. I believe that she mentioned it's from 1 to 3, which is really important for those of us that don't want to drive at night. And it's a 1 to 3. I'm thinking maybe hot cocoa. We won't have the food other than hot cocoa. And yeah, bundle up. And Brenda, if she would be kind enough to give us a directions to your home and send that out. Okay. And solstice is the 21st this year. And it usually is the 21st, 22nd, right around the first day of winter. So there we go.
Also, I looked up, hopefully I'm right, not calling this equinox, but the solstice is supposed to be at 4:38 p.m. Eastern time, which would make it 1:38 our time. So if we all gather at 1 o'clock, we'll be together for the most powerful time of the day. So, and I will send directions out, especially if you come, if you let me know that you want to come, that I'll try to do it email. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
They can.
Yeah.
Very. We're using a different mic that's not the best, but they can.
Great. I think that's it then, as far as announcements. Let's go to our program. Like this, Patti Toronto, who has traveled fearlessly to the Congo, and she's going to come back with some stories and experiences to share.
Yes, we are, including my outfit. Thank you very much. Okay, Bella, we got this nailed.
Yep, yeah.
I don't need music.
No, I don't know what that's about.
Okay.
I need to make sure I'm clear the screen.
One thing I can do is turn up her volume on the mic and it might pick up better.
Okay.
Okay. Hi. There was a slide right there that said Adventures to Congo.
Yeah, it's coming, but I just want to make sure
Here we
it's
are.
to everybody.
Here,
There we go.
I took this. Okay. I met the Sanguma family in 1997 in Pasadena, California. Mosai Sanguma was, he and his family lived in Gema, which is about an hour flight away from Kinshasa. And it's very, very poor. I'm hoping that you'll be able to meet the family here in a minute. But anyway, Mosai was, there's the kids. And this is after they were in the US for about 4 years. When I first met them, Yenamo, the one in the center, was 12 years old. And then there was Sharupa, Walida, Wakolo, and Jean. So the night that they arrived, the next morning I went to the grocery store and not knowing what to get, I just got bread, milk, peanut butter, just general kinds of staple things. And I knocked on the door, everybody was asleep except Yanamo. He opened the door and he saw the groceries and me and he said, Mama. He is now 39 years old and still calls me. Next. I love this. So Masai was out, and here's Yanamo today. This is, I met him in Brussels on my flight to the Congo with his two children. It's quite a story. Yanamo was with, or is with Rotary International, and he distributes funds and researches projects in all of Africa and French-speaking European countries. Next. Oh, well, I arrived. Oh, in this first slide, you'll see Walita and me. We're at the airport at LAX. Flight was delayed, missed flights all the way down the rest of the way. I had packed the one suitcase with just what I needed, and the bigger bag was full of soccer equipment and shoes and things just for kids at the orphanage. Up here, my first night, that's Mosai and Sabuli. I'll tell you, I was surprised that Mosai was hugging me because I totally stepped out of line at their home in California. I walked in one day and there was Mosai's picture above Sabuli and all the rest of the kids lined up. And so I just moved Sabuli right up there next to it. I thought, why don't I do that? Because she's here with the kids, she's stuff. But I was so horrified by what I had done regarding what their culture is. I had no idea, and I thought Mosai was angry. Well, you can tell he's not angry anymore. He said, Sabuli again had taken, it took her 3 months through the jungle with 5 children to get to Kinshasa, the airport, to get to Pasadena. So there's Sabuli and Mosai, and that's from my hotel room, a picture of the city of Kinshasa. On my second day, we went to see the bonobo monkeys, who are the only mammal outside of humans. Just humans and the bonobo are the only species that have sex for pleasure. And they were pretty aggressive, so I was gonna get there and get out there. You'll see that in the top right, there was a picture of a guard. It's going too fast, kids. Here I am at, I'm back.
Yeah.
They're sitting around next to the Congo River. And the top right is Mosai's office. We cut off a bunch of people, but I was the only white person for ever. Okay, and we don't have any notes. This was where Yanamo was born and where his family lived. There is no lights, there's no electricity, there's no plumbing. The kitchen is outside, and to the right is the bathroom. And when it's hot, which it was terribly hot, you just don't want to go there. Seriously. Okay, this I wanted specifically in the top right. Now you see on the big screen, specifically for Doug and Jim Jones. This is construction in the Congo. This guy here is, this is scaffolding. This young man is carrying one board at a time, and every single one of these boards was carried in by hand. Next one. Okay, here's a lot. Is that like exciting? And this is their source of electricity. And again, what they use for construction equipment, that's a hacksaw cutting one rebar at a time. And here's their power saw. That's how they cut the lumber. It was absolutely stunning. Next one, please. Oh, okay. This is how you do laundry. I don't know if we can blow up this one, but this is the Day of Commerce. This is like Costco, right there on the street. Everything in the world you can imagine, including the pea farms, which if you need protein, you eat those. This young lady is holding an iron, and it's the iron itself is ridiculously heavy, and it's filled with hot coals, and that's what they use to iron the clothes. And I'll bring that back up when we get to the orphanage. This young man over here, he's on a pedal sewing machine, and he's making clothes, much like what I've got on here. Next, please. Okay, this ripped your heart out. Oh, he's in that page. These two little kids over here on the left-hand side, they're 2 weeks old, and their mother died in childbirth, so they will just go straight to the orphanage that Sabuli started when they went back to Congo. This is a list of prices. If you want it, the reason why there's so many orphans in Congo is because 90% of the mamas die in childbirth. It cost, if you cut to get a cesarean, it's $20 in the hospital. Costs $20. Your income is $20 a month. Ladies don't get cesarean birth no matter, and there's no prenatal. There's it's just stunning. So this is a list of prices. It's all in French. So anybody want to check that out? This little boy, he has typhoid and malaria. And he's there with his mama and a friend, and there's no daddy inside. Next. Okay, on the waiting market. This young man on the left, in his basket is a goat and a chicken. And he's taking those to market to see if he can bring home some food. Laundry again in the river. They start carrying things on their head starting at about age 3. And I'm guessing this little boy is 6, but those bricks are heavy. And he's going somewhere, helping. This whole line of people, the line itself is close to 1.5 miles long, and they're walking to the market. I didn't see another vehicle other than the 3 that were involved with me. And the way I got around, there was a Range Rover in front that was full of military men. Then I was, and Mosai, not Mosai, but Sabuli, and some other people would be in the middle. And then there was another Range Rover behind us, again filled with military people. Mosai is now a senator in Congo, and that's why there was so much protection. Okay, the one with, when Sabuli was leaving the Congo with her 5 children, youngest 2, oldest 1. She often, and this was during the Civil War, so it was really a horrific time in the Congo. She would encounter a truck like this, hopefully not broken down, but she would bribe the driver and ask him to pretend that he was her husband and that the children were his. And he would take them as far as he was going, and then they would get out and go through the jungle again. The little kid in the red shirt, that's one of Yenemo's children. He kept asking, where was McDonald's? I said, you find one, I'll buy. Go to the orphanage next. Here they are. They're in different ages, but there's 95 children in this orphanage now. The teenage boys are located in another facility because they're rambunctious and loud. And there's so many infants here. There's like 24 infants when I was there, 4 sets of twins. And so right here, this is having lunch. And because we were there, they had sodas and things, but you'll see there's 5 children eating out of that one bowl. They can eat as much as they can take as much as they're going to eat, but they
if they cannot take more than what they will eat. So getting up to the top there, where you see all the laundry, that's diapers. During the wet season, those things never get dry. So remember that little girl with the big iron? That's what they use to iron diapers to get them dry. So, and the young lady in the yellow shirt, she was one of the first orphans that Sabuli took in when they went back to the Congo, and now she's one of the caretakers for the children. I'm holding this little bitty baby girl with my Rotary flag, and I took it upon myself to buy disposable diapers for the wet season, and I continue to send money every month so that they can have dry bottoms during the wet season. Next, this is again Yanamo, and in Congo it's 95% Christian. This happens to be a little Muslim girl that the mama just brought over, dropped off, because she had an errand to do, and would we want her? She's absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. Anyway, next, back at the Sanguma compound, which by the way was a compound, big massive walls surrounding their home. And so you drive up off the horn, the military people get out, open the door, you drive through, they close the door. The one on the far left, that's the kitchen. Oh my gosh, does anybody know Victoria Emmons? She researches anything. You just go and tell her what you're about to do, and she'll research and tell you what not to do. She researched Congolese food. And one of the things she wanted to know specifically about was food. And that's how I feel about it today. The cassava plant, they take the green part and pound it, and you can convince yourself that that's spinach. But the root part is the fufu thing that they beat up, and it kind of looks like scoops of mashed potatoes. But I don't know if y'all ever threw up. That's what it tastes like going in. It was so bad. And people ask if I lost a lot of weight, and I'm like, no, I took so many kind bars, crackers, cookies, peanut butter. But these are all the people who are working on making our dinner every day. And it's just amazing to see how they live. And and the chickens, which you think, oh, good, fried chicken. But their chickens, they were described as being very strong. But it's not that they're strong, they're tough. They're just up here is a picture of, the Sangumas also have a massive farm, about 40 acres, where they grow any tropical food you can imagine, including coffee, and they make palm oil. But the food that they grow out on the farm feeds the people who live on the farm and work the farm, and also the people in the orphanage and the people at the medical clinic, which is another thing that Sabuli started. Okay, examples of dishes. And I'm not, Kelly, don't look like that. Yes, if you need some protein and you don't want a tough chicken, you can, there you go. There's no refrigeration. That's another thing that leaves things tasting kind of off. No refrigeration, well, no electricity, unless you, anyway, never mind. But they had American water and Canadian pure water. And I would go through at least 2 or 3 of those a day. But this was like a regular meal. I did eat the bananas. They made a waffle, which was interesting, but no butter, no syrup. With the scrambled eggs, they started scrambling about 24 minutes before you sat down to breakfast. So yeah, not only were the chickens tough, so were the scrambled eggs. Yeah, there it is. The green stuff is the leaves that you think are lettuce, are spinach. The meat This is goat meat right here. Also tough. Everything's tough. Life is tough there. It's, okay, moving along. Daily life. Wow.
Oh,
People are on every road, all through town, how they carry their goods around. This little lady in the middle, she's got to be probably 36 and looks 86. And this young man, he works at the farm doing, they make palm oil, and it's hot and hard life, but that's his clothes. And the next one, these are some of the children that live on the farm. And I don't know if you can see in this slide, there's one little girl with one baby on her back, and that's her charge to take care of all day. This little guy, I fell in love with, his name is Feaster. And he's been an orphan there since birth, but he has such an attitude. I mean, he came into Tabui's house and was like marching like this. At first he wants to do fist bump, and then he wants to do high five, and then he wants to sit in your lap and cuddle. He's just absolutely precious. Okay, now we're going to a more recent, getting closer to closing down. This is the Sanguma family. Now remember when they arrived, Jean, the one that is being held up, he just graduated from university. Every one of these kids, when they arrived, limited English. Yenamo has a master's degree in business. Sharufa standing next to Yenamo, she is a nurse. That's Mosai in the back. Go all the way to the right, there's Walita. There's information on your desk, on your table about the project that the organization that Walita does. Sharufa is holding Jean, her baby, and next to Sharufa in orange is Wakolo, and she's an entertainer. She just got back from doing a music video in the Serengeti. Jean, he and two partners have one of the bar and lounge in Minneapolis. And I mean, they're a fascinating story. Came from nothing. They had nothing when they landed. Speaking of that, Yenamo, he starts the school in Southern California, and he went to like Payless Shoes and he got a pair of shoes that he thought were really great tennis shoes. And the kids at school started making fun of him because of his Payless tennis shoes. So I just immediately went out that we're getting shoes. One of the other things that I participated in doing was getting every child a bicycle, just so they could not be stuck in. The first apartment was 2 bedrooms. They were all there. So bicycles was really important. But what was funny, Jean being 2, now probably 2.5, I couldn't find a trike. It was just ridiculous. So finally, I think Jerry, you came up with the tricycle. And so I called the Sanguma family over, and again, we were living in Pasadena. And so we get Jean on this tricycle, and he just pedaling like a maniac, and he throws up his arms and he says, hallelujah, hallelujah. You're just so excited to have him fight. This is me coming home on the flight from Gemina. This is the bully. I was the only white person at the airport in Gemina and on the plane. And here you'll see some of the clothes that were made for me. That's what I'm wearing. I'm hanging in trees. All of these things were made on pedal sewing machines. It was, there they are. So that's the end of the slideshow, but it's not the end of the story, which is fortunate. So Mosai, part of what his obligation was to get his education and go back to Congo. And so not a single kid went back. They all stayed.
Sharupa took care of the little one, Jean. Yenamo, again, still calls me mama, but he didn't have a place to go when his parents went back to Congo. So Jerry and I were recent residents of Grants Pass. And so we said, Yenamo, you come and live with us, we can check out the junior college, we can see what we can do for you. So he comes up and we have neighbors that live, walking distance, your 2 acres and my 2 acres are connected to. So the hostess called me and said, we want you to meet some new people, maybe make friends and get to spread your wings. And I said, well, we'd love to, but we have a guest living with us or staying with us. And she said, well, bring your guest. So Jerry, Yenamo, and I, we walk over to their home and there's this big picture window and you can see lots of people in there. They're eating, they're drinking, you can hear the Christmas music. We knock on the door and walk in. Conversation stopped. Dead stopped. I went over to get a glass of wine. The host pulls Jerry aside and says, and I quote, there's going to be an awful word here. Bruce said to Jerry, you don't want to be known as a nigger lover in this town. Jerry came over to me and he said, you believe what I, and I said, I've got the worst headache ever. So we laughed. And so a couple days go by and Yenamo in my car. Yenamo's driving. He's 18. I'm riding the passenger seat. We get lit up by a city cop. And so we pull over and I said to Yenamo, 10 and 2, put your hands 10 and 2. So he's sitting there and the city cop came up. He leaned over and said, where'd you get the car, boy? I thought, where the hell have I landed? I looked over and I said, I beg your pardon? And he said, oh, I didn't see you, man. You can go. We were terrified about having Yenamo live in this community at that time. So we didn't keep him. And he was fortunate enough to find another family that took him in and supported him. And got him through university. Like I said, he's got a master's degree. He has 2 beautiful children. He lives in Chicago. And he's spent 14 years doing Rotary International work. And he still calls me mama. That's it. Question? Kurt.
How long do the orphans stay there? They got teenage boys there that come from because they have to leave.
At some point, yes, about the age of 18. But like I said, children, the first child that came along, keep in mind, Sabui's back in Gemina without her baby, who is now 8. And there was this little boy whose mother died in childbirth and the father wasn't around. His uncle took the baby. Way too much work for the uncle. And you can Google the Levito project and get more information on any one of these projects. The uncle took him and just laid him by the side of the road. Somebody found him and took him to Sabui. Within a few weeks, here's another baby. It got to the point where there were 20, keep in mind the house that they now have was under construction, but it was big. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, not a flushing toilet anywhere. Okay, it just don't happen. Ended up that there were 22 small children in her home, and that's when she started the building project. So what happens, this all started with little tiny babies. And as they grew and developed, more kids kept coming along. Again, getting back to the fact that mothers, the majority of orphans are from mothers who died in childbirth. So initially, all of the children were infants. The young boys, when they get to be rowdy, And it got to be too much of a problem with the younger children, so they built another facility that just the young boys are in. So that's as far as I know about. But at 18, you can be working on the farm, making palm oil and living your life.
Where did you stay in the village?
Oh, I actually stayed for the most part in Sibuli's home. On one occasion, I went out with Yenamo and Walita was also there, and we went, 2 hours drive, which might have been 15 miles, but that's how bad the roads were. And so there was this church that where visiting pastors came and they had little cabin-esque things. And so they said, Patty, which room do you want? It's just one with a shower and a toilet. Just please, just a shower and a toilet. So I go to the end and I take that room, but it was dark. So we go and have dinner with some of the village people and not the song group. What am I going for? So we come back and it's dark and I have my phone flashlight and I looked into the bathroom and just went, forgive me, son of a bitch. Yeah, there's no toilet seat anywhere either. So you sit on the first on the ramp, you pray for toilet paper, you learn to carry toilet paper with you. And there's a big blue barrel with not a bucket, a saucepan. So that's how you flush it. That's how you flush it. And if you want to take a warm shower at Sabuli's, you tell Masia, who is the house guy, so that he can get up early in the morning and start boiling water. So, I mean, anything I asked him to do was labor for them. So you just get,
It's like the Philippines.
yeah. I don't have just one winter coat. My life is so blessed. I'm happy that we live here. And I see the poverty that exists in our community. And, I went to Nepal 3 times when this Rotary did the voter care clinic, and I thought I had been to a really poor place. I'd never been to primitive. This was primitive poor. There's a possibility at some point I'd like to present the idea of doing something like building a wall around the children's center. I know the price would be like $23,000. So, that's on my agenda to research, see if we can do something. So, any more questions? I think we're all tired of this.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you so. Oh, all the flowers be hanging around, they're on the trees or out everywhere. But again, those were all made right there. At the fire. Yeah.
Thank you, Patty. Maybe you have a similar experience, but whenever I see presentations like that, it does make me think, I realize how blessed I am and how fortunate I am, and to try to give back a little more than I do. Anyway, it's time for Happy Bucks. So speaking of giving. Well, Greg, do you want to do it? Can you do it from the Zoom side?
I'm ready to do it.
And go for it. Sorry, good enough. Thank you.
Some of you may remember that I originally volunteered to be Sergeant at Arms back when Doug was being Sergeant at Arms, and said that they needed some more people to sign up. And he offered a reward for people who signed up to be Sergeant at Arms. Doug, I don't know if you're still on. I can see that you're muted. Do you remember what that reward was that you gave me? You might have stepped away. Anybody that was, oh, Doug, do you remember what reward you gave us when we signed up to be Sergeant at Arms in the future, the one day when you were Sergeant at Arms?
Chocolate.
That's right, chocolate. And I called out from the side of the room, sign me up.
Did you get your chocolate?
I got my chocolate, and I got 7 fun facts about chocolate for everybody else.
Okay.
So does anyone know what the date is for National Chocolate Day? Think about that. It commemorates the day. There is a National Chocolate Day. It's July 7th. And it commemorates the day that chocolate was first brought to Europe in 1550. Do you know the date for National Hot Chocolate Day? Well, that's kind of fitting because it's January 31st, so it should be cold. And I don't know what that commemorates, but I do know that I can tell you hot chocolate is different than hot cocoa. Hot chocolate is made from ground or shaved cacao, while hot cocoa is made from cocoa powder with the fat stripped away. How about this? Worldwide, consumption of chocolate is more than 3 billion pounds per year. Europeans eat the most chocolate in the world, led by Switzerland at over 22 pounds of chocolate per person per year.
So much.
That's a lot. Next is Germany, 17.8 pounds per person, and Ireland is third at 17.4 pounds of chocolate per person per year. But do you know what location sells the most chocolate in the world? They sell 3.3 pounds of chocolate per minute at the Brussels airport in Belgium. That's 800 tons of chocolate per year. You know what? Chocolate's good for you. It is. Dark chocolate contains higher levels of antioxidants than green tea. And antioxidants fight inflammation, protect your cells from damage, and reduce heart disease. Chocolate also contains tryptophan, which we use to produce serotonin, a hormone that causes euphoria. And the smell of chocolate increases theta brainwaves, which trigger relaxation. So do you think German chocolate cake is from Germany?
What? Repeat.
Do you think German chocolate cake is from Germany?
Oh.
No, most of you maybe know this. German chocolate cake originates in the US. It's named after Samuel German, who created the special dark baking chocolate used in the recipe. Speaking of baking chocolate, is that why there's a baker's chocolate? No. That chocolate comes from the chocolate company Baker's, named after its founder, James Baker. You know, chocolate's been involved in a couple of last interesting incidents I'll tell you about. One was the great Nutella heist of 2017. Anyone know what Nutella is? It's a mixture of chocolate and nuts that's in a spread form. And it's very, very popular. Margaret and I actually know a child that is named Nutella. But in 2017 in Germany, a refrigerated trailer containing 20 tons of Nutella and the Kinder Surprise chocolate eggs was stolen in Germany. The thieves got away with over $70,000 worth of chocolate and chocolate spread. Your last fun fact, the discovery of chocolate chip cookies, which was a complete accident. In 1938, Ruth Wakefield thought that adding chocolate chunks to her cookie batter would result in chocolate cookies. Instead, she stumbled upon the recipe for what has now become the world's favorite cookie, chocolate chip cookies. Eventually, she sold her recipe to Nestle Toll House. And what did she get in exchange? Any guesses?
Chocolate.
Yeah. A lifetime supply of chocolate. That's a good deal. Okay, who has holiday happy bucks? I can see the Zoom folks, but I can't see the pub folks, so I'm going to need some help. Maybe bring the microphone to them.
This is Lynn.
Thank you. I can see they're moving.
Okay. Hey guys,
There's Delynn. Hi, Delynn.
Jody in the backpack program that went great, a couple days ago. Another happy buck for everybody who's purchased the button ornaments through Interact Kids, thank you very much. And the rest of the happy bucks, another 3, total 5. Matt is down with the Oregon State football team for the bowl game on the sidelines with them because he's a manager for the football team. So if you're watching the game, watch the sideline. He'll probably be in black and orange.
That's Friday night, I believe, right, Delynn?
I'd like to give 5 happy bucks, and of course, I would love to give way more. For everybody with the backpack program, that just went so fabulous, even with some of our little faux pas where the company didn't send us 8 backpacks, so Delynn had to run out and buy 8 backpacks so that we had enough, and needless to say, I've gotten a hold of that company. They're gonna give us a really good deal next year. Anyhow, couldn't believe it, I mean, we've always had huge support. When I was looking at that room, it was like, holy cow, I don't know where we had so many people, you guys were fabulous. You brought family, friends, everybody. So, I mean, to have it completely done, even though we slowed it down, people were checking bags and we were still out of there in less than an hour from the start of the stuffing. So kudos to everybody. Thank you so much. And I am so happy that we have the backup.
That is an annual highlight for our club. Thank you very much, Jody. Debbie,
So I belong to a PEO chapter, and we purchased the production of A Christmas Story tonight. And I still have a few tickets in case anyone's interested in attending tonight's production. And we also serve little hors d'oeuvres and treats.
thank you, Debbie. Who's next?
Some happy bucks, $10. I enjoy your condo, learning about that. And I love my flushing toilet and my hot shower.
Maybe so did I.
Hi, I have 20 happy bucks.
Debbie.
Brenda and the solstice celebration. That is my high holiday as well. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be celebrating. I have to deliver a new log to them with 2 little boys. That's our special tradition. We the Polar Express and burn a Yule log and send off all of our wishes to the universe. Also for Patty, great presentation. Thank you. And Greg, the chocolate presentation. I have to say, I did my part at the Brussels Airport.
Ah,
Bella's in Geneva. And in Bruges. Actually, I spent the most in Bruges because especially little artisan's store was chocolates and beer. Thank you.
thank you, Debbie. I see Jim's looking for someone else. There's hands up in the room. Keep it coming.
Hi.
Tommy.
Yes, oh, you want me to stand up? Okay, so I have 10 happy bucks, and your presentation reminded me of the Philippines and Guatemala. You know, in the back country, the places, yeah. It was really nice that Mal and I sort of slept in one small twin bed in Guatemala, and he's 6'6", so it's a little bit. And so anyway, hit my heart with that, and I know Ellen Heinrich would have loved to be able to go there, had she been able, they were gonna go and start the General Mill clinics, which obviously are greatly needed. And this kind of reminds me of Manu, remember we helped him, and he helped orphan kids in, you know, go to school, and we helped get a separate building built for the girls and for the boys, so that was pretty cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
I'd like to donate a few happy bucks now that I have Donna back in the Rotary again. It's been a real pleasure having her tenure. I'm glad she's finally back in the Rotary. And I do want to comment on the chocolate, in the Bruges and some of the places. What I would really like to comment, looking into one of the, there is some really neat artwork on some of those chocolates in the windows there. So if you don't want to.
Edible art. It's very important. It's good for economic growth too.
Heading out to the airport today to pick up our daughter. She's coming home.
You get it too far away.
Going to the airport today to pick up our daughter who's coming home to the house. We're very excited about that. And one other thing about chocolate, I was in Ecuador and they actually have very good chocolate in Ecuador as well.
Chocolate does bring people together. Jenny,
I'm gonna use my dollar to make a happy buck, and then the other 4 that I might happy buck is we're gonna go for a button on the neck, and thank you, Dylan, for the work that you do with our interact clubs and making that happen. And then my other happy buck is very personal. My sister, my real life, full-on sister, is coming to my house for Christmas this year. It is the first time, I think, in like 40 years, I'll have a legitimate relative in my house to celebrate with me, and I'm extremely blessed, and you should be in my house. It is a Christmas wonderland. Merry Christmas.
wonderful. Thank you, Jenny.
Anybody on Zoom who is,
I don't see any virtual hands. Any real hands? Any virtual hands? On my little screen, I've got about 12 or so people, and I think that's all there are. And I don't see anything. So
we good?
anything more at the pub? Well, happy holidays, everyone. Thanks very much for another great year of Rotary.
Hey, right on the button, it's 1 o'clock. Thank you all for being members of Rotary. I know we do some extraordinary things and there's more to be done. And we have a thought for the day. This is from Robert Browning. Said, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? Thank you.